Have you ever been in a situation where you slowly stop being yourself just to keep someone else happy? Not suddenly, not dramatically, just little by little, day by day, until one day you don't even recognize who you become. Yeah, that was me. My name is Jimmy. Nothing special about me. Just a regular guy trying to build a simple life. I had a stable job, a small but comfortable apartment, and a few close friends I'd known for years. Life wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. And then I met a Liliana. At first, everything felt right. You know that rare feeling when you meet someone and it just clicks? Like conversations flow naturally. Like you don't have to try too hard to impress them. That's what it was like with her. She was intelligent, sharp, passionate about things that mattered. She had strong opinions, and honestly, I admired that. It felt like I had finally met someone who understood the world on a deeper level. We spent hours talking, laughing, sharing ideas. For a while, it felt perfect. About a year later, we moved in together. And that's when things started to change. Not all at once. Not in a way you could point it and say, that's the moment everything broke. It was slower than that, like a tiny crack in a wall that keeps spreading until one day the whole structure feels unstable. Her interests started to narrow. At first, she just cared about fairness, equality, social issues. And honestly, I agree with most of it. I mean, who doesn't want people to be treated better? But over time, it became something else, something heavier. Every conversation started revolving around the same topics, not in a casual way, but in a very intense, almost academic tone. It felt like every discussion had to be analyzed, broken down, examined like a lecture. Nothing was just simple anymore. We couldn't just sit and enjoy a movie. I remember one night, I put on an old action movie I loved. Just something fun, something easy to relax with after a long day. Halfway through, she paused it, and then it started. A full breakdown of the film, talking about hidden meanings, power structures, representation, narrative bias. I just sat there, holding a bowl of popcorn, waiting for the movie to continue. But instead, I got a 10-minute lecture. And the weird part, I didn't even argue, because I quickly realized there was no winning. If I disagreed, I was being defensive. If I agreed too fast, I wasn't truly understanding. So what was left? Just nodding. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think of it like that. Good point. It became automatic. And slowly, I stopped sharing my own thoughts, because it just felt easier. At first, I told myself, this is normal. This is what relationships are like. You compromise. You listen. You grow, right? But the truth was, only one of us was changing, and it wasn't her. At some point, it stopped being just conversations. It started leaking into everything. Every small moment, every normal, everyday situation somehow turned into a discussion, a correction, or a problem. One evening, I came home after a long day at work. I was exhausted, not just physically, mentally drained. You know that kind of tired where you don't want to think, you just want to sit, eat, and breathe for a while? So I did something simple. I cooked dinner. Nothing fancy, just something I knew she liked. I thought maybe we'd sit together, eat, relax, maybe even laugh a little like we used to. She looked at the plate, paused, and then it began again. Instead of "this looks nice" or "thank you," I got a breakdown about domestic roles, expectations, and how one meal doesn't erase years of imbalance in society. I just stood there, holding the plate, confused. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I wasn't making a statement. I was just hungry. But somehow, in that moment, I wasn't just a guy making dinner anymore. I was representing something bigger, something negative, something I didn't even sign up for. And that became the pattern. Nothing was just what it was. Everything had a deeper meaning. Everything had to be questioned. Even my friends weren't safe from it. These were guys I had known since childhood. We weren't perfect, sure, but they were good people. Loyal, supportive, real. Sometimes I'd invite them over to watch a game. She wouldn't say much while they were there. Just sit quietly, sometimes on her laptop. But I could feel it, that silent judgment in the room. And as soon as they left, the real conversation would begin. She would go over everything, the way they talked, the jokes they made, even the way they laughed. According to her, they were all examples of everything wrong with the world. And me, I was part of the problem, because I didn't challenge them. She wanted me to correct them, educate them, turn casual hangouts into debates. I tried to explain that's not how friendships work. That didn't go well, because in her eyes, staying silent meant I was supporting something harmful. So eventually, I stopped inviting my friends over. Not because I wanted to, but because it was easier. Less stress, less conflict, and slowly, my world started getting smaller. The apartment didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a place where I had to be careful. Like every word I said could be used against me. Like I was constantly being observed, evaluated. Why did I buy this brand? Why did I use that word? Why did I react that way? Questions all the time. And not simple questions. Questions that felt like tests. I started thinking before speaking, then overthinking, then just not speaking at all. Silence became safer. My usual responses turned into things like, yeah, you're right. I understand. Okay. Even when I didn't fully agree, because agreeing was easier than explaining. At some point, I convinced myself this was normal, that this is what people mean when they say relationships take effort, that maybe I just needed to adjust more, be more understanding, be better. But deep down, something felt off. Because no matter how much I adjusted, it was never enough. She never met me halfway. There was no compromise. Her perspective was always correct. Her way was always the right way. And I was the one who needed to change. Completely. The last few months were the hardest. The apartment felt heavy, like the air itself had tension in it. We weren't fighting loudly. It was worse than that. It was quiet but uncomfortable. Like something was always about to explode. And honestly, I started to feel like I was disappearing. Like I was slowly removing parts of myself just to fit into the version of me she found acceptable. I was tired. Not the kind of tired sleep can fix. A deeper kind. The kind you feel when you've been trying too hard for too long and nothing changes. And then came that Friday. That Friday felt like any other. Long week at work. My head was heavy. My energy was gone. I didn't want deep conversations. I didn't want analysis. I just want a few quiet hours. So on my way home, I stopped and picked up something simple. A large pizza. A 6-pack of cheap beer. Nothing special. Just comfort. Something easy. I walked into the apartment and instantly felt it. That tension. You know that feeling when you step into a room and you can tell something is already wrong, even before a single word is spoken? Yeah, it was that. She was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, silent, that look on her face, like a decision had already been made, and I was just there to hear the outcome. I placed the pizza on the counter. Hey, I got dinner. I said casually. No response. I tried again. Thought we could relax, maybe watch something. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was cold. She told me that my choice of food was somehow a statement, that it was disrespectful, connected to something she had recently talked about regarding food systems and social impact. I just stared at the pizza box. Cartoon characters on it, bright colors. I had picked it because I was tired and hungry. That's it. I tried to explain that. Big mistake. Because suddenly, I wasn't just explaining anymore. I was dismissing. I was reducing the conversation. I was not taking things seriously. I exhaled slowly. Okay, forget the pizza. I said, what do you want to do? I suggested a movie. Just a fun one. Action, fast-paced, something to switch my brain off. Her reaction? Like I had said something completely unacceptable. She went on again, talking about what the movie represented, what it promoted, why it was problematic. I hadn't even seen the movie. I just saw a trailer. At that point, I gave up. All right, I said, raising my hand slightly. You pick. Her choice? A slow black and white documentary. No music, no energy, just long shots and heavy narration. We sat down. The pizza stayed on the counter, getting cold. I tried to focus on the screen. I really did, but my brain was shutting down. The exhaustion caught up to me. My eyes felt heavy. Then my phone buzzed. Just a message from a friend. A dumb meme. I looked at it for a second, barely smiled. That's all it took. She paused the documentary. Silence filled the room. I looked up and saw her staring at me. Not just annoyed. Angry. You're not even paying attention. I tried to explain. I'm sorry. I'm just really tired. That made it worse. Suddenly, it wasn't about the movie anymore. It became about effort. About how much she does. About how much energy she puts into everything and how I don't match it. I sat there, empty. No energy left to argue. No energy left to explain. And then I said something simple. Something honest. I just want some quiet. That's when everything changed. Her expression shifted. The anger turned into something else. Something colder. More certain. She stood up and started speaking like she had been waiting for this moment. She said I was using silence as a weapon. That it was avoidance. That it was a pattern. Then she made a decision. A strange one. You're going to stay silent, she said. For 11 days. I blinked. I thought I misheard her. She repeated it. Clearly. 11 days. No talking. No responding. Just listening and thinking. She explained it like it was a lesson. Like it was something I needed to learn. I just stared at her, trying to process it. But then something unexpected happened. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel shocked. I just felt calm, like something inside me had quietly switched off. All the pressure, all the constant effort, gone, replaced by this strange stillness. So I looked at her and said one word. Okay. She looked satisfied, like she had won. Like this was the final move in a game I didn't even realize we were playing. But what she didn't understand was that wasn't surrender. That was the moment everything changed. Because that silence wasn't going to break me. It was about to free me. The next morning, I woke up and didn't say a word. No good morning. No small talk. Nothing. At first, it felt strange, but also peaceful. I made my coffee quietly. Sat down. Checked my phone. No tension. No pressure to respond. No need to explain anything. She, on the other hand, was different. She was talking more than usual, almost like she was trying to fill the silence herself, saying things out loud, commenting on her day, her plans. But I didn't react. I just stayed calm, neutral, and that's when the shift began. Day 1 was quiet. Day 2 got uncomfortable. By day 3, something inside me changed. The silence stopped feeling like a punishment. It started feeling like protection. For the first time in months, my mind felt clear. No constant correction. No pressure. No overthinking every word. Just space. So I started noticing things. The apartment, the small details I had been ignoring. A loose table leg. A broken light. Messy shelves. I picked up my old toolbox and started fixing things. One by one. Tightening, cleaning, organizing. No discussion. No explanation. Just action. And it felt good. Real. Like I was finally doing something for myself. When she came home that day, she noticed immediately the clean room, the fixed furniture. She looked confused. Asked me what I was doing. I didn't answer. Just looked at her. Then went back to what I was doing. Her plan wasn't working. Day after day, I kept going. Cleaning. Organizing. Going out. Even meeting my friends again. And something hit me hard. How much of my life I had slowly given up. Not all at once. Just little pieces, over time, to avoid conflict, to keep things peaceful. But it was never really peaceful. It was exhausting. And now I had space to think, to breathe, to remember who I was. By day 8, she started to panic. You could see it. She tried to end the silence early, said it was enough, said I had learned. But this time, it wasn't her rule anymore. It was my choice, and I chose to continue. Not for her, for me, because for the first time in a long time, I felt in control. By day 10, I had already made my decision. No arguments. No drama. No big emotional speech. Just clarity. I started packing my things. Slowly. Calmly. Each item I placed in a box. Felt like taking a part of myself back. My books. My clothes. My old memories. She saw it. And that's when reality hit her. She tried to stop me. Tried to talk. Tried to pull me back into the same cycle. But I didn't respond. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to anymore. Her words didn't have power over me now. They were just noise. And for the first time, I wasn't listening. The final day came. 11 days completed. She sat there, waiting, expecting everything to go back to normal. Expecting me to speak, to explain, to apologize. I made my coffee, took a sip, looked at her, and finally, I spoke. Calmly, clearly. I've done a lot of thinking. She smiled, thinking she had won, but then I said, these have been the best 11 days of the last 2 years. Her expression completely changed. Confusion, shock, fear, and I just continued. I realized something. I don't want to be fixed. I don't want to be managed. I just want to be myself. I picked up my keys. My life shouldn't feel like a constant test. And then, I'm done. No shouting, no anger, just truth. I walked out without looking back. And for the first time in a long time, everything was quiet. Not the heavy kind of silence, but a peaceful one. The kind where you can finally hear yourself again. Call to action. If you ever felt like you're losing yourself just to keep someone else happy, take a step back. Ask yourself, are you growing or are you shrinking? Because a real relationship doesn't take your voice away. It gives you space to use it. And if this story made you think, even for a second, then don't forget to like the video. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe for more real stories like this. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose yourself.